Whoa, hey, it's me, Nick. I still have that film degree. I don't know if these videos even need intros anymore. Just buckle up. Here's another 10 movies. Number 70, John Mulaney, Kid Gorgeous at Radio City.
The host was Sir Patrick Stewart, okay? Yeah, the great Sir Patrick Stewart. And this is how he introduced the musical guest, all right? He went, "Ladies and gentlemen, salt and pepper!" Like he was surprised by pepper.
This is my favorite stand-up special of the decade. It would be monumentally funny if I only heard it, but the pomp and circumstance surrounding Kid Gorgeous brings it into a whole other arena of comedy. Literally, the theater is absolutely massive with dozens of cameras and perfect strategically timed dolly movements that support the punchlines rather than distracting from them. John Bryan is playing a gigantic organ. Everything feels funnier because it's being rendered on the largest scale possible. Even the subtler, quieter jokes are somehow improved, as though a man is whispering into a megaphone. And that grand scope really complements Mulaney's style, which is big and theatrical and physical. And there's a nice balance between timeless comedy and current stuff. That horse in a hospital metaphor gave me a ton of strength processing Trump's grip on the world and my consciousness for a couple of years there. Number 69, Still Alice.
I don't know what I would have been like at a dinner party. I might not be able to remember names or answer simple questions. I mean, never mind get through an anecdote.
I think you're doing great recently.
Relative to what? I wish I had cancer.
This is a very accurate and therefore very crushing look into early onset Alzheimer's. Julianne Moore somehow manages to make each micro stage of the disease feel different scene to scene. Her mind is just a little bit less vivid, fuzzier, like a Polaroid developing in reverse. It's a staggering piece of work, and they gave her an Oscar pretty much without question at a time when almost no one had even seen this movie. My dad dealt with a very similar degenerative disease, and he started in a similar place as an intellect who loved language. And I can tell you this script and this cast nail what this kind of disease means for both the victims and the people who love them. Number 68, American Honey.
You got anybody who's gonna miss you? Not really. Okay, good. You're hired.
A lot of movies slap the word American in front of the title and just kind of call it a day. It doesn't really mean anything, but in this case, it's completely essential to what this movie represents. It's a vision of these massive, cinematically underrepresented parts of America, these tragic people living dismal lives inside a grimy nightmare, searching for any kind of escape. These parts of America are so alien to me. They feel like they exist in a time wedged between ancient civilization and present day, and there's such a spontaneity and authenticity here. I really had to question how they pulled this off every few minutes, because everyone feels completely real. A ton of the cast has only one credit on IMDb, and I have to imagine this is basically who they are. Number 67, Honey Boy.
Think it through. Play the tape out. What's your mother got a job for? Huh?
Just in case.
In case what? In case what?
I don't
In case
know.
you fail. In case it don't work out. Yes, man. She's filling your head full of fear. I don't ever do that, do I? Huh? I pump you full of strength.
This is a far-reaching exploration of abusive relationships, how much damage they cause across time and generations, and how seemingly impossible they are to undo. Shia LaBeouf playing his own father is just a brilliant choice for many reasons. I would have a hard time believing this character or taking him seriously if he was played by anyone else, but I know this performance is probably accurate because it's his son. And the act of playing him looks like a deep catharsis. Since Honey Boy premiered, it has come to light that Shia LaBeouf is a serial abuser himself, and that gave me pause about whether to include this movie on the list. But I think, in a tragic way, it actually makes Honey Boy even more relevant, because despite his self-awareness, his insight into his own plight, his understanding that alcoholism and abuse is a cycle and it's deeply rooted in his family, he still continued the cycle during the filming of this movie. And obviously this isn't any kind of excuse, and I don't think Shia LaBeouf should continue to make movies or be in them or have any kind of power, but that doesn't stop this movie from being fascinating. It definitely ruins whatever optimism I had from the ending, though. Number 66, James White.
Would you dispose of a dead body for me? Would you dispose of a dead body? I would. Would you? Would you for me? Dude, no question. No question. Would you for me? Would you? Hey, go answer that. Get that.
Here's a character study that forces me into another person's skin, partly through hyper-visceral sound design, partly through a never-ending series of close-ups. You're up in this guy's grill for a lot of the movie, and you cannot pull away. And he's not the greatest guy, but you sort of have to be him, and I'm sure he probably feels similarly. This has kind of become a movie that doesn't exist. No one talks about it, but it was a really compelling first film, and I think this particular style could work for any number of characters. So I hope I see another movie from Josh Mond in the near future. Number 65, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
I know you are a man of conviction. A person who knows the difference between what is wrong and what is right. Try to remember that your relationship with your father also helped to shape those parts. He helped you become what you are.
When I saw the trailer for this, my gut reaction was, we just had a definitive Mr. Rogers documentary. Why does Tom Hanks need to do this? And I went in skeptical, and I think I cried upwards of 5 times. The most powerful scenes in this movie are simply Mr. Rogers being interviewed, but because of the nature of Mr. Rogers, he can't take a question without somehow reflecting it back onto the interviewer and engaging with their soul. And there's something so powerful about a person truly listening to another person with patience, treating them like they deserve kindness and love and respect. And that sounds so simple, but I can only imagine that the reason I was so moved by those scenes is because it's actually quite rare. Mr. Rogers was this divine figure, and Tom Hanks embodies him so well, he lulled me into this transcendent state of empathy. Mariel Heller understands the power of Mr. Rogers, and she channels that by making the movie feel like an episode of his show. Pure and simple and sweet, without a generic heartfelt score or snappy one-liners. It's filled with a joyful, curious calm, just like the man himself. Number 64, Gravity.
Anyone?
I have a lot of issues with Gravity. The writing is tropey, the score is not great. I wish they'd cast unknowns instead of big movie stars who I just can't fully buy as astronauts. And I don't like the title. I mean, there's almost no gravity in this movie, which is very disappointing. But, even all these years later, there is nothing that approaches what it's doing visually. This is photoreal space adventure. It is a feat of cinema. The physics, the danger, the wonder, it's all so palpable, and I will always feel like I'm on a space roller coaster when I throw this movie on. I have to look beyond all the flaws and love Gravity for what it is, a thrilling glimpse into the future of the form. Number 63,
Listen to me, Marlon.
You want to stop that movement from the pop going to the mouth.
I have it! Then let slip the dogs of war.
You get people to stop chewing.
That this foul deed shall smell above the earth.
The truth will do that. Damn. When it's right, it's right. You can feel it in your bones.
This is Brando's masterclass, making use of a massive library of audio recordings he left behind. He's so good at conveying his process as an actor that I feel like he could have been a writer too. Exactly how great actors do their thing is so underreported. Obviously, they're the people we talk to the most about movies, and there are billions of interviews with actors, and I find it so unfortunate and strange strange that the questions are almost universally about what it was like to make the movie, or what it was like to work with that other actor. What do you think of the story, etc., etc. It's rare, relative to the amount we hear from them, for actors to be given a platform to open up about their craft and their work philosophy. So this is an essential resource for learning about how Brando did what he did. I recognize he's another very problematic man on this list and a huge asshole, but he is very good at talking about his life and his job. Number 62, Boyhood.
You think they ever will make another Star Wars?
I don't know. I mean, I think if they were to make another one, the period where this game is set is where it would have to be, because there's nothing after, really.
Yeah. No, Return of the
At
Jedi,
the
it's
end.
over. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing else to do there.
Boyhood deserves our attention for being such an ambitious experiment, following a child all the way into adulthood, but it easily could have been forgotten as a gimmick without Richard Linklater's desire to craft a compelling journey around that idea beyond the one thread of kid to adult. This is just as much an encapsulation of pop culture, and it's also secretly adulthood for Patricia Arquette and Ethan Hawke, who arguably have better storylines and character growth. Here's the thing. When you pick a kid to star in this kind of movie, you are gambling that they're going to grow into a compelling adult actor, and that's pretty rare. And in this case, Linklater lost that bet. I think this kid just grows into a flat, meh, on-screen presence, but because Linklater invested so much care into the world around him, bringing in his own daughter and all these other recurring situations and characters and themes, the movie not only survives having an uneven central character, it thrives. Number 61, Cop Car. Two kids find a cop car in the middle of nowhere, and it belongs to Kevin Bacon, and he really needs it back. Kevin Bacon has never been better. I'm by no means a big Bacon stan. I'm not in the pocket of Big Bacon, but Cop Car makes me wish he found more insane roles like this one. He has to wear so many hats moment to moment. He's a cop, a crook, a kook, everything in between. He's very much an evil person, but I have to root for him on some level because he's so entertaining. It's a wild performance, and it matches the pace and tone of the movie as a whole, which is completely unpredictable, inventive, explosive. John Watts, who is busy making Spider-Man movies right now, came from Waverly Films, one of the best YouTube channels, filled with brilliant shorts where not a single second is wasted. And this movie is a perfect feature-length version of that blissful YouTube kind of filmmaking. And there you go, another 10 picks in the books. I want to acknowledge this part of the list was very male, and there are positive expressions of masculinity, and there are some very problematic men on this list. And there will probably be a few more before it's over. I encourage you to donate to vday.org to help end violence against women, especially if you're a privileged white guy like myself. Thanks for joining me again. See you next time. Degree in Film.